want me to go hard, so I'm finna go hard. They want me to go far.
What's good, guys? Welcome back to the channel, Chicago Unhinged. I'm your boy Mike B. Got my man's Big O with me back to talk some more Chicago Bulls. In this video, it's going to be our 2022-2023 season recap. First off, Big O, how you feeling today?
Man, I'm feeling real good, man. Bulls put me out my misery already, so I'm already on my way road to recovery. So feeling good.
Hey, I'm the same way until playoffs started. I kind of see some of these games that was really interesting. I kind of came out of that deep darkness I was
yeah.
in once the playoffs started, and we got some
Yeah.
good games. Sacramento and Golden State.
Woo. That's a
That's a good
good one.
one.
That's a good one.
Phoenix and Clippers was good, but now Kawhi Leonard finna miss Game 4, and that kind of ruined
Ah,
that whole little series.
oh
And
man.
Knicks and Cavs getting it cracking as well.
Yeah.
Those are my top three series right now that I'm interested in.
Yeah,
They got
I'm
me.
right with you. I'm right with
Oh
you.
yeah, and of course Grizzlies Lakers. Uh, Dylan Brooks came out and told LeBron he too old. He gonna respect him when he drop 40. I ain't never heard nobody talk to Kobe that way. Just saying,
Just say,
just
yeah.
saying. Or Mike.
Oh my, right. Yeah, them guys was to be feared, man. I don't know
Yeah.
what's going on, man, but another good series. I definitely would love to have Ja 100% and Bane. I mean not Bane, but Adams and Clark in that series to really test the Lakers. But it's still good anyway. Dylan Brooks making it entertaining.
Let's get into it. Our beloved Bulls. The Bulls finished 40 and 42, 10th in the Eastern Conference. They went 1-1 in the play-in. They beat Toronto, and they wound up freezing up late fourth quarter against the Miami Heat. What was your overall thoughts on the season? What you think went wrong?
uh, I have to tell a lot of people this because everybody pointing fingers at DeRozan, and a lot of us point fingers at Billy Donovan. A lot of people point fingers at AK, and I try to tell people it's everybody's fault. It's not one person or one thing's fault why the season went as bad as it went, as disappointing as it went. And and it goes to roster construction. We can take it all the way to the top. AK not getting shooters, not getting enough interior presence. Last summer, when we already knew that this team needed that, so that's one thing. Then you look at going into the season, Billy Donovan came in and said, hey, we're going to switch the offense around. We're going to do something a little bit different so we can get everybody involved. Now, for the most part, they beat a lot of teams that they wasn't beating the year before. They beat the Nets when Katie and Kyrie was there. They took down Golden State. They took down Philly. They took down Boston a couple times. They took down a lot of good teams, but then they turn around. We was losing to OKC, which ended up really being a really good team at the end of the year. But you lost to the Rockets. You lost to Minnesota. Down ahead, Devin Booker put 50 on you in 3 quarters. So, so it's just like the ebbs and flows of the season. You can say, okay, a lot of that had to do with coaching. A lot of it had to do with, okay, DeMar not trusting his teammates, doing a lot of ISO ball. We saw him go away from that a lot towards the last few months, where Zach LaVine scoring went up, DeRozan shot attempts went down. So we saw the team try to make it work. So it's just a little bit of everything, man. It's a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I agree. I think everybody gets the blame. At first, I'm a hang AK and Mark Everly because they know coming into this season we desperately needed 3-point shooting. We
Yeah.
needed a big man in the middle for, like you said, defensive presence, and we needed some type of point guard to facilitate.
Yep.
They brought in Dragic, that's cool, but Dragic didn't really get the minutes. Dragic can't really play a minute like Patrick Beverly can play. So I think
Mm-hmm.
if we would have addressed the point guard at the beginning of the season, things would have looked it well. Or you could have set somebody down and say, listen, this is what I want for you. I need you to get guys involved And then if they not going, then you go get yours. I feel like that's what Billy should have set down. One of his stars told them like, I need you to get these role guys involved. I need you to look for Pat Williams. I need you to look for Kobe White, Ayo Dosumu to get those guys. We go as far as these guys, can go because they're the pieces around us. And I think we didn't do that. We seen this team heavily rely on DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine. At times, you just seen the role player didn't really have an option to go take over a game. So I think that's was probably one of the things that I wanted to see, but I didn't get a chance to see.
Yeah.
And I think on the second half, we start to see them get more aggressive. You start to see Kobe take initiative and go and get his buckets. We start to see Ayo go and get his buckets and Patrick Williams. So hopefully that's the start of something new. We can start seeing those guys get involved. And
Yep.
I think Billy gets some kind of blame too because he's the coach. But as far as the defensive scheme, I gotta applaud him because with that roster to be top five in defense,
Impressive.
you gotta hang your hat on that. You gotta give Billy some respect. But other than that, that's as far as I go because the rotations still trash. And there's no way in hell Drummond could miss 10 games and then you play him the 11th game. That's don't make no sense when we need that. We need him in the game for rebounds. So
Yeah. Billy definitely didn't. I wouldn't say he didn't press all his buttons at the right time because he definitely had his moments where he pressed the right buttons at the right time. But he definitely got a bunch of moments where you're like, hey man, it's like when you play your video game, BBB, CA, you know what I mean? Billy hitting the wrong button. So he definitely gets some blame. I would say though too, because you're absolutely right about the point guard situation, bringing in a 36-year-old Dragic, but trying to get in the AK head. I know he probably was thinking that Ayo was going to take a step up and not a step
true,
back. So
true,
I
true.
think he put all his eggs in the Ayo basket. And at the same time, Kobe was the one that blossomed. So I guess you got a little bit of something out of that. But I'm still with you. You don't go get a 36-year-old Dragic. You got to go get a dog. You got to go get something to make these guys compete for that spot. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
The same thing with Patrick Williams. I talked about this with somebody else. They came right in just giving P. Will the spot. Make him earn the spot. Go get a really good, talented forward to put with him and make them fight for the spot, like in the NFL, right? Is that what they do in the NFL? They go get 50 some players. A lot of them play the same position. And it's like, hey, whoever come out of training camp, that we feel is the best, they're going to be our first option. You know what I mean? So
yeah. I agree with you on the Ayo part. That do make
yeah,
tons of sense. That he probably was banking on Ayo to take that development. So I'm gonna go and get a veteran guy, which it's understandable, but majority of the guys hit a sophomore slump. So you can't really put all your eggs in that basket thinking that he's gonna take that step, knowing that most guys really hit their slump in their sophomore
yeah.
season. So it's like I understand it, but still, AK, you should know these things. But let's talk about this big three. Should the Bulls retool around this big three? Or should they trade one? And if so, who would it be?
Great question. This is probably the most complicated thing, um, really, because the Bulls don't have a lot of wiggle room as far as salary cap. We know that Vooch may get to make his own decision on what he wants to do. So the Bulls don't really have a say so in that. They can just hope if he wants to leave, they can get a trade partner that would be willing to do a sign and trade with him. But even if they bring Vooch back, they still have a mid-level exception that's going to be around $15 million. So with Vooch, without Vooch, they'll have that mid-level exception. They salary cap number doesn't change. So that makes it really difficult. And then it comes down to if the Bulls want to apply to some type of insurance for Lonzo Ball, whether they try to get the disabled player injury exception on him where he still gets paid and he comes off the books completely, or they try to get some that covers I think about 50% of his salary, but they just basically can prove you have to prove that he's at least out for the year, which everybody pretty much saying. So I think that's them two dominoes is the biggest dominoes that has to fall first before they can make a decision on anything else. Because I think if Vooch walk, you don't trade DeRozan, you don't trade him at all. But I think if Vooch wants to stay, and if the Bulls want him to stay, um, then DeRozan could become a piece that they might want to trade. Um, my personal opinion, I would like to see DeRozan and Levine stay. I would rather them take a different route with Vooch, but I do understand that they might not want to lose him for nothing. But if they can find a trade partner um, that's willing to take Vooch and might have a few pieces that the Bulls can use, which I have no idea who it could be right now. If it's Dallas, Christian Wood is room to be on the move, so maybe they can talk Christian Wood into doing a sign and trade with Dallas, and we just swap Vooch with Wood and maybe some other pieces. That's just one idea off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure there'll be a few out there in the summer when they get to it. But if it's up to me, I say keep DeRozan and Levine. I know a lot of people got their thoughts about DeRozan, but I just look at it like this. It's a guards league. It's a guards league. Guards win in this NBA. Man that got paid more than $20 million a year and won a championship or was at least competitive enough to win a championship ain't done it since like Tim Duncan. You know what I mean? When you look at the teams that won championships over the last decade, the Golden State Warriors, even the teams that made the finals, or the Boston Celtics, outside of Anthony Davis, you
And,
know what I
and
mean?
Giannis. Giannis.
Giannis, AD, outside here, AD and Giannis, them are max big man guys. So unless you got like a transcending big, like one of those big that moves the needle, I don't think you need to pay your big $20 million when it's a guards league. You see what Boston did. They got 5 guards that can score 25 any given night. Derek White, Malcolm Brogdon, Tatum, Brown. You need guards. You need high scoring guard, really good scoring guards in today's NBA, unless you got Jokic or Embiid. You know what I mean? You need one, not to say Vooch, because I love Vooch. Vooch is a double-double machine. But if you're not going to use him like he's Jokic or Embiid, if you're not going to have him in a position to where he's pushing your team and moving the needle and getting it done like we see Jokic and Embiid, I say go get you a serviceable center. Bring Drummond back. Find you a Nas Reed. You can find in today's NBA, you look around a lot of these NBA rosters, bro, and you know this, almost every big man in the league can dribble a little bit and can shoot it, because it's the way the way the bigs are developed in the modern NBA. Like most of these bigs ain't coming out playing back to the basket like that anymore. You know what I mean? So you can find the shooting, the space, the floor spacer at the center spot to replace Vooch. Will he be the totality of Vooch? No, he won't be, because Vooch is a very good player. He's very talented. So you won't find nobody to replace him in one body. But you can go get 2 and 3 bigs like we see Golden State. They got Looney. They got a couple more bigs. You see Boston with Al Horford. You can get 2, 3 bigs that can do different things to complement Zach, Kobe, and DeMar, and then go get you another wing player. Go get you another 6'9", maybe 2 6'9" forwards. So now when you're going up against Boston, you got all these different bodies you can throw at teams, not just Boston, but just in general. So that's my opinion, what I want them to do, to at least try it before they decide to move on from Vooch and DeMar all together, because we already know they over 30. So
Yeah. See, you just kind of persuade me in the whole Vooch trading, because right now I was thinking, Demar, but as right now I'm working on a video about how the Bulls should retool if they trade DeMar DeRozan. That'd be
DeRozan.
out probably sometime next
Yeah.
week. Then I probably gonna do it if they trade Vooch,
Yeah.
and then I probably do it if they keep all 3.
3. Right.
But I agree with you. It is a guard lead, especially if you're not gonna. Why pay Vooch 18 million to 20 million if you're not gonna use him? We've seen time and time again that these two go away from Vooch when he's
Yeah.
cooking, then they just don't look for Vooch again. So I can see in a world where Vooch look at himself like I can go somewhere and play and fit my play style, get the ball, and still be happy and still get money. The Mavericks, like you said, I think the Mavericks are a team that could be attracted to Vooch. I know him and Luca is very best friends. Go over there to Mavericks. But I don't think the Bulls are going to lose Vooch for nothing. AK is always known for a sign and trade, and I think they got enough respect for each other. If Vooch do find a deal better than what the Bulls are offering, him and AK going to work out a sign and trade wherever Vooch want to go to. The same for DeMar DeRozan. If DeMar DeRozan want to go to a team, I think the AK will find a deal that is reasonable for him to make. I don't
Mhm.
think he'll just send DeMar to Charlotte just because Charlotte want him. I think they have a mutual agreement of where he want to send them. So I'm
Mhm.
still torn on the two. I'm leaning more so DeMar because I can move Pat to the three, and I can go and find me a forward that complement Vooch. And I
Mhm.
seen Vooch and Zach play together, and it was great. That pick and roll was
Mhm.
great. I still got Kobe White coming off the bench, or if I want to start him, that can work real well with Vooch. Patrick Williams can work real well with Vooch. So I think
Mhm.
I can. I'm leaning more towards that way. I think you can get more for DeMar DeRozan. But
You definitely could.
let's say you do trade Vooch, maybe you get another expiring contract to go along with DeMar DeRozan. You get those two off the book. Probably open up some more cap space next season. So both option got its pros and cons. I'm leaning so more to trading DeMar because I think we get the more from him.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. You definitely would get more from for Demar, and a lot of and it come back to a lot of the reason why I just said because it's a guards league. So Demar being 25 points per game, team's going to be like, hey, yeah, we'll take you. We'll give you 2 or 3 pieces and probably a draft pick or something for him. For Vooch, I can't really see Vooch having a whole lot of suitors because anymore. So it's going to be
Yeah,
like teams ain't gonna want to give up a lot of guards when everything about today's NBA is about switching. It's switching.
yeah.
And the minute that Vooch getting cooked in pick and roll, he's not gonna be in the game on a different team.
And
See,
if you
Billy
look at
play.
all the teams that's in that's contending, they don't need a big. So and Vooch
Yeah,
not finna go to a team that's rebuilding. So I think
yeah.
it's looking like Vooch is going to stay more and
Want to
more.
end up
But
being
my
back. Yeah.
I'm about to cut you off though, but you can finish, bro.
No. I was just agreeing with you. That's the other caveat to it because it's like I don't me at least right now I don't see Vooch having a lot of suitors. He may have a couple. He might have like 2 or 3. I'm thinking maybe 4, but it won't be probably something as attractive as maybe coming back here unless Vooch said, "Hey, I can go there with these young guys and get a good run with them to get them in the playoffs, not necessarily win a championship." So that'll be the thing if he want to get the most money maybe go to Texas or something. It'll probably take other things outside of basketball to push them that way. But I do think this roster to be the best fit, even if the big three come back all together. That just means that AK going to have to do something with Lonzo contract to free up some money and try to get some shooters in here. And
Yeah. And the especially it's gonna be really tough if they want to retool around the big three because you gotta
really
extend
tough.
Kobe unless you want to move him. But if you move Kobe, you damn near moving your best shooter, one of your best shooters, and you say you want to improve 3-point shooting. So moving him, unless you get him back another decent better 3-point shooter, that don't make sense because he's
It don't.
23 years old, who's
It don't.
improving. You say AK say you want to extend Ayo. My opinion, I think Io may,
He being be on the out.
let me ask you this. If Io wasn't from Chicago, would you extend him and how much would you give Io?
If he wasn't from Chicago, because he had a really good first year. He had a really good first year. Um, if I was to keep him, it'd have to be maybe 3 years over like 6 million or something like maybe like 2 million a year.
I don't think he'd take 2 million. See, I got him somewhere in three years, 27 million, 9 million per.
Yeah, I can't pay Io that.
Cause he's a second round draft pick. So I don't think he's gonna
Yeah,
get the money Kobe will get. Because Kobe
yeah,
can Kobe to me is a shooter. We don't know if Io can still develop that shot yet. But if I had to choose between the two, I'm leaning more so Kobe because I feel like he's more of a complete two-way player. He still got room to grow, but he more developed than Io is as far as shooting the ball.
yeah. I'm go ahead.
And I think I want to get caught up from him being in Chicago. And unless we move Caruso, then I can see a way where we can keep Ayo and Kobe. But if you don't move Caruso, it's hard for you to keep all these guys to re-sign Vooch, to extend Kobe White, to extend Ayo Dosunmu. You still got Caruso on this team. Uh, what and if Derrick Jones Jr. and Drummond pick up their player option, what moves could you possibly make other than probably signing some vet minimum guys? That's not really retooling. So you gotta move
And listen,
somebody gotta go.
I think if only scenario that they can make moves without if they want to keep the big three, they're gonna have to do some Lonzo contract because that's 20 something. That's a chunk. And depending on what they want to do with Caruso, somebody made a good point. Javante, Caruso, and Jones are all the same player. They be the better defender overall, but none of them are like shooters. They all hustle guys and they all play like hard-nosed defense. So you Caruso make the most money out of those three. He could be the one that you can try to swap out for a shooter. You know what I mean? But because this is another thing too, and you can give me your opinion. So we all watch Sacramento Kings, and I look at them. They maybe have like maybe only two good defenders on their team, Harrison Barnes and Davion Mitchell. But nobody on that team is like a surefire all
Yeah,
defensive team specialist.
Fox is solid on the defensive end too.
Fox
I give
solid. But what I like the way they did their team was they said, hey, like Mike Brown preached defense. He's been a defensive coach his whole coaching career. Like everywhere he's been, he always been a hard-nosed defense. But since he got Golden State, he said, we are defense. Not they said that, but they play. That's how they play. So Kevin Herter, he don't play defense. Keegan Murray, lots of best defensive years that he probably may have in the future. Sabonis, a great rebounder, tough nose, 6 undersized center, but he's not a shot blocker. So when I look at the way they built their team, they chose a lane. They say, look, we gonna put shooters around our big and around Fox, and we're gonna play fast. That's how we're gonna play, and they're gonna have to outscore us. So when I look at the Bulls and you look at what they got Caruso, you got DeRozan, you got Javante, you got Levine, you got Vucevic, you know what I mean? And then you got Patrick Williams, 6'7", forward next to him. And it's like if the Bulls, in order for the Bulls to capitalize on the big three, say forget the defenders and just put all shooters and a really good point guard with them and just outscore people.
Yeah,
That's how I look at it.
I'm gonna piggyback off what you said when you said about the green and stuff. I feel like we got two guys that can bring the same thing at those and Caruso. I mean, Kobe
Yeah.
White and Ayo Dosunmu, who's younger. They both hustle. They both can play defense. Kobe a better shooter right now. They could be just as good or even better than Caruso, Green, and Derrick Jones Jr. So there's no need for those guys. Like I love Caruso, but if I'm choosing, I want to go. I'm going younger. Like you said, the Kings is a perfect example of how to make up this roster. I don't think I'll trust Zach being my De'Aaron Fox at the one, so I would keep him at the two. But I would put a point guard that got traits of a playmaker and 3-point shooting. which I don't want to go deep into my video, but you once my video drop, you gonna see what I'm thinking now. So I got
Yeah.
my shooter and my point guard who can play make Zach P Will at the three. I give me a 6'8" wing player to play next to Vooch. Vooch is my Sabonis. Like, and we just gonna outscore people, and the defense, we gotta play defense, we'll play defense. That's the
Yeah.
perfect philosophy they go. We can get out and run.
Yeah.
There's no DeMar DeRozan slowing us down. That's why I think that's probably the way to go. We ain't gotta slow down for nobody. Whenever that ball hit the rim, whoever getting it, we run it. And
Yeah.
Vooch, the trail man from the three. That if we need Vooch, knock down those three. That's how it was when Lonzo, we was getting down and running. And
Mhm.
I think when DeMar kind of been was that lead guy, it slowed things down. So I think the Kings way is the way to go. Like you said, they ain't got too many good defenders, but they play
But
good team defense.
but
Like
let,
the
let, but let,
Bulls do.
let me throw something at you though. Harrison Barnes played just as slow as DeRozan, and it still worked with them.
But that's because they ain't running through Harrison bars. If that as soon as that ball hit the rim, they giving it to De'Aaron Fox or Malik Monk and they going out and running. You ain't seeing Harrison Barnes like this at the end of
But
the
see, but that's a coaching problem. That ain't really on DeRozan.
I mean,
That
that's
that's a
true.
culture. That's a culture
But
problem.
but we know Billy
Coaching got
going to run with his stars. He did it with Westbrook, KD, Paul George. He not the type of guy to run his offense through a quote unquote role player or somebody. He's going to run it through his best player.
yeah. No, I agree, but that's why it's still a culture problem. Billy
Facts.
Billy has to change the way he's doing it so it can all come together. See, because I
Somebody got to
thought
sit
they
there. Somebody got to tell him that though. Who's going to be the one to tell him like, listen here, the shit you doing is not working.
yeah.
Like, who going to tell him that? Like, is AK going to be the guy? Will he listen to somebody on his staff?
I actually think the second, maybe the last 2-3 months of the season, they played better with the way DeRozan played. They actually played better. I think that way can work because I think DeRozan led the team in assists. I don't know, like he averaged almost 7 assists a game.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
had multiple games like over 6-7
But
assists.
but those are with those assists. Those are double team pass out assists. Those
Not
aren't.
all of them. Not all of
Hey,
them. Not all
the
of them. I do know what
majority
you're
of
saying.
those assists is like when he get trial, it's and Kobe White, Zach make that three or make that shot. It ain't like he pick and roll dishes to Vooch layup or
He, he,
he
he,
take this
he
shot.
got he got some good kick out. See, because when I look at the roles, I'm gonna just throw this scenario at you because I'm combining my thoughts about Sacramento with a little bit of Boston. See, this is why I say it's a guards league. Imagine plugging Jordan Clarkson onto the Bulls, still having Kobe, still having Zach LaVine, and still having DeMar DeRozan. You have 4 guards that can go off for 25. That's dangerous. That's dangerous. And the thing is, with that, you just need a shot blocking center and a guy that can go get some rebounds. You need guys like Robert Williams do the dirty work. But when you look at the way Boston built, Malcolm Brogdon, Derek White, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, you don't know which guy gonna get hot tonight. It can be any guy. And I think that's part of the Bulls' problem because it's so heavy DeRozan and LaVine. So if it ain't one of them going off, they most likely gonna lose the game. But then at the end of the year, we seen Kobe White coming on. He said, "Hey, I got a couple nights I can give y'all 22."
See,
So
both ways can work though, because
yeah,
you make some good
good
points.
arguments.
Both ways can work. Like you
Yeah,
if you want to go with the whole, like you said, the Boston system, you can like the Boston or Kings. You got to pick a direction. I don't think
yeah,
you
that's
can
a good
continue
point.
to you can. I don't think you can continue to have all three though, because it's
Yeah,
unless you're just going to put nothing but shooters around. That's kind and the way they structure now is hard to get better if you're trying to retain your guys. You
no,
got
you're
to
right.
get something up to get something.
Yeah,
So
and
I
they need
think
a point guard either way.
yeah.
Like either with trading one of them, and you're not going to get a quality point guard without paying one of them a decent amount of money. So that's the
So,
biggest part
so
here.
in order to get better, you gotta give something away, which is DeMar or Vooch. You want to go with Sacramento and just run with Vooch and Zach and just put shooters around them. Maybe get you a couple of long wings, or you're
Yeah,
gonna go the Boston way. You're gonna rely on your guards heavy. Get you a rim runner that can block shots,
that's a good
grab
point. Yeah,
rebounds.
yeah.
You still can get out and run like that.
Hmm.
But I prefer just getting out and run and don't even think about giving DeMar the ball at the half
Yeah,
court. But that's
that's
just
your
my
opinion.
preference.
That's your opinion.
But I would love to
Yeah,
see Zach and DeMar. That's a nice duo as well. Both
when
of them
they
can give you
own,
30. Yeah, when
when
they
they
own.
own. Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm all in for both directions, but I'm not in the direction of all three of
Stand
them
pat, stand pat.
because because they don't. It's like, how can I say this? I feel like Vooch is the forgotten man, and
Yeah,
if I want to be good, then why not just go and get a center that complements Zach and DeMar? Like, we know both of those guys is not good defenders, so you're going to blow past them. If I have me a shot blocker behind them, I feel better,
yeah, yeah,
as a coach. Like, okay, he
yeah.
got past Jason Tatum, got past Zach Levine. Oh, he come Clint Capella or
Color,
somebody,
right,
Jared
right.
Allen that could change the shot. Like, I'm okay with
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. That's a good big man to put behind him.
Yeah.
By the way, too.
So
I like those names.
so I think both our ways
Yeah,
is cool.
it can
It's
work.
good. It can
Yeah,
work, but I don't think all three of them together will work. I just don't.
yeah. Yeah. I think they selling. Even if you go get a really good point guard, because I got my eye on Tyus Jones. So Tyus Jones, I think a guy that I think the Bulls should target. I think he's a starting point guard that just come off the bench in Memphis. But I think his contract up, and I don't think he's going to be in Memphis behind Ja after this year. I think
So,
he's going to go get paid.
but how would we get Tyus Jones if you want to extend Kobe and Io and
That's a
Vooch?
good question.
That's the only
AK,
that's the
you got
only
some work to do, brother.
That's the only tough thing about it. If AK said, I know he could be just blowing smoke, but if you want to
Yeah,
extend all your guys, how can you get better? You can't go and get Tyus Jones if you giving Io 9 to 12 million,
yeah,
Kobe 12 to 15 million, and then Vooch.
yeah,
So
yeah.
at the end of the day, somebody gotta go. Whether it's Demar or Vooch, you ain't giving up
Yeah,
Zach.
yeah.
I think if things go wrong next season, then we can start thinking about Zach on the chopping block.
Yeah, I
But
definitely don't think Zach going nowhere. Definitely not this summer. I
yeah,
think he played well enough to show that he's a good piece to move with moving forward. But I think if they ever trade Zach, then we going to full rebuild. It's gonna be a teardown by then.
yeah.
So,
We're
man,
st- we're that could we could have if we would have continued to rebuild, right, probably next season would have been our year where we take that leap because we had
yeah,
last year draft, the Pat draft. We could have had back to back high picks with no wait, we would have traded Zach Levine. So what we got from him, we would have been in a great spot right now. But we choose to do different.
yeah.